Now, while Kanto might not be my absolute favorite region, for me, I believe every set of Pokemon games has its own redeeming qualities. Whether it be story, new mechanics, characters, etc., every generation has its strong points. But one thing they all have in common is fairly obvious. All of them have amazing Pokemon. Sure, you'll have some duds and some that are just fairly average, but generally speaking, I'd say most of them are pretty damn good. So today, I decided to throw my hat into the conversation by giving you guys my opinion on the top 5 best Generation 1 Pokemon. Now, what I define as a best Pokemon might differ from your definition, but for the sake of my video, what I take into consideration for these Pokemon are their designs, battling capabilities, and just my sentimental value for them. And if you guys like the premise of this video, definitely leave a comment down below if you want to make this a series for the other 6 generations. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. And with that being said, let's get started. Power is something most people strive to achieve, and our first Pokemon on this list at one point in time had loads of it: Tauros. While Gen 1 is definitely not my favorite generation in terms of Pokemon designs, there's still plenty of Pokemon that come from Kanto that are just plain cool, and Tauros is one of them. Now, I've mentioned in the past how much I appreciate a well-designed Pokemon, specifically when it comes to the lore. However, Tauros is one of the few that managed to slip past those ideals of mine just because of how well designed it is. When it comes down to it, it's just a bull with 3 tails, but the execution was just pulled off so well that it doesn't really matter that that's the only inspiration behind it. However, I probably feel this way about Tauros because I just love bulls. They're just such powerful, intimidating, and amazing looking creatures. This fact was definitely reciprocated in Tauros' design, as in Generation 1, he was one of the most powerful Pokemon in the game. I remember when Red and Blue were re-released on the 3DS Virtual Console, one of the first things I had to try out was having a Tauros on the team. And by God, was it as good, if not better, than what everybody has been telling me. Nowadays, people don't really view normal Pokemon as anything to be feared, as it's not super effective against anything. But on the other side of that argument is the fact that normal Pokemon are only weak to fighting type Pokemon, which at the time were not very prominent in the meta. And with its high attack, defense, and speed stats, it could certainly pack a serious punch as well as take a bit of punishment. In addition to having solid stats, it has access to a decent variety of moves, including powerful stab attacks like Hyper Beam and Body Slam. However, this wouldn't last very long, as by Gen 2 it was borderline UU, and by Gen 4 it was in NU. And with the most recent generation, Tauros is now in a limbo state, being slightly too good to be in PU, but not good enough to be in NU. This drastic fall from grace was actually pretty sad to see, considering where it started. This also seems to be the case in the anime, as one of Ash's 30 Tauros came in super clutch during the Orange League, beating Drake's Venusaur and setting up the victory against his Dragonite for Pikachu. But it slowly became less and less useful during Johto and Hoenn, skipping Sinnoh and Kalos, and only being present to greet Ash during Unova and Sun and Moon. So yeah, this fall from grace, while definitely saddening, is why Tauros is lower on the list, but at least I can still remember the good times I had with it. Coming in at number 4, we have one of my favorite object mons being Muck. Just like with Tauros, even though the design is simple, it just works. This is absolutely how to do an object Pokemon. It may be a pile of sludge, but the colored ripples throughout its body, as well as its stuck together melted mouth, really sells you on the fact that it's a monster born from intense pollution. This Pokemon also has some sentimental value to me, as it was my first ever shiny Pokemon. This was when I was a wee lad playing Pokemon LeafGreen. I was in the Pokemon Mansion on Cinnabar Island just going through the story like normal when I encountered this green pile of sludge. Given the time frame and age I was, I didn't know anything about shinies or how to hunt them. In fact, funny enough, I almost didn't even catch it as I thought it was a glitch in the game. However, I did notice it was a female Grimer and thought maybe it was some special color for them, so I decided to go ahead and catch it and was really happy that I didn't make the mistake of letting it go. I actually still have it on my HeartGold save file, so maybe one day I'll move her on up to one of the more current games. In addition to that, I already had a fondness for Grimer and Muck from watching Ash's in the anime. Ash caught his Muck while they were in the anime exclusive location, Gringy City. I loved the ominous feel it gave off as the city was abandoned due to the pollution, allowing the Grimer and Muck to thrive there. Ash catches the Muck towards the end of the episode, with its smell managing to seep out of the Pokeball. And from there, Muck seems to be very full of charisma and happiness, probably because these Pokemon are usually avoided like the plague. He literally is the "wear my hug at" meme in Pokemon form, and it's amazing to see. But my love for this line doesn't stop there, as Grimer and Muck got regional variants in Pokemon Sun and Moon. And honestly, they look even better than the originals, which didn't really seem possible to me, as there's not really a whole lot you can do with a pile of sludge. With the rainbow colors giving it the appearance of an oil slick on water, the toxic crystals on its body being its claws and fangs, and the added dark typing making it a decent competitive Pokemon, it's probably the best thing that could have happened to this line. All in all, while Grimer and Muck might just be a pile of sludge to some people, they're piles of sludge with personality and charm, so it's very easy for me to add them to this list. I gotta say, growing up as a kid, I played a lot of Pokemon LeafGreen. And since really none of my friends played with me, I always found myself searching up playthroughs online so that I wouldn't feel alone. And so, I came across this YouTube channel by the name of Leroy, and with his Pokemon LeafGreen walkthrough, I never really felt alone again. And I gotta say, one of, if not my favorite Pokemon from his walkthrough was Ivan the Nidoking, or as he likes to call it,
Nidoking.
But sentimental value isn't the only thing I loved about this Pokemon. I actually tried it for myself in my own Pokemon LeafGreen playthrough, and it was a freaking beast. I mean, stat-wise, there isn't anything really that special, with nothing going over base 100, but it's still good enough attack-wise because of its sheer force ability. Pair that with a wide range of moves with secondary effects, and well, you've got yourself a Pokemon that can do some real damage. And it's not just moves with secondary effects, it's moves in general. I mean, look at the options, it's so freaking vast what you can do with this thing. And not only is it good in battle, but it's also just a very well designed Pokemon. I don't really know what the basis of origin for Nidoking is because of the fact that it draws so many inspirations from many different things such as rhinos, gorillas, porcupines, even freaking rabbits. But I will say that it doesn't really matter because it just looks so good. I'm also a huge fan of the Dragon Ball series, and I can't help but always see a resemblance between Nidoking and the weird dinosaurs. The two may not have any correlation, but it's just nice to see something that reminds me of a show I will always treasure. Also, I love how its shiny being a light blue color is similar to the coloration of its female counterpart in Nidoking. It's a nice touch. Speaking of Pokemon used in a Leroy playthrough, coming in at the number 2 spot, we have one of my favorite water types in Starmie. Now sure, one of the reasons was because it was on Leroy's team, but it goes a lot deeper than just that. Firstly, the design is just fantastic. The way how its second body spins around is just so interesting. And fun fact, during my totally normal scientific research, I found out that starfish laying on top of each other is just another way that they mate. So yeah, that's something, I guess. But anyways, I also have to mention how much I love both Staryu and Starmie shinies. Staryu's kind of reminds me of how diamonds look in a certain light, while Starmie's just looks beautiful with its sapphire gem. In fact, I love Starmie's shiny so much that it made it into my top 5 shiny Pokemon in Kanto, which by the way is a horrible video, and you should never go check that video out, okay? Because it's very cringe. Alright, cool, moving on. But design isn't the only cool thing about this Pokemon, as one of my favorite characters in the Pokemon anime, being of course Misty, also has this shining star as her signature Pokemon. Even during its first on-screen battle with Misty, you can see how experienced it is in battle, which really shows the bond between the two. Also, rather than saying its name like most Pokemon do, you get this cool cry instead. It was just so ridiculous, but at the same time also full of character. It really made it seem like you were dealing with a tough Pokemon, which would be the correct feeling, as Starmie is no slouch either when it comes to competitive battling. It has great speed and special attack, in addition to a versatile move pool, which includes moves like Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, and Dazzling Gleam. Up until Generation 7, Starmie has always stayed in OU, and it's only in UU in Sun and Moon, which is definitely not bad by any means. With moves and stats in mind, it's easy to see why Starmie has stayed as a top tier Pokemon for over 20 years. It can pretty much fit any role you need it to fill, whether it be an offensive set to take your opponent's Pokemon head on, or a utility set to get rid of hazards and protect your other Pokemon. This is helped tremendously by its ability Natural Cure, which gets rid of status ailments when you switch out. Overall, Starmie is just a fantastic Pokemon design-wise and when it comes to battling. And seriously, look how hung it is. Did any of you guys really see this as a surprise? Coming in at the number 1 spot, we have not only my favorite Pokemon in Generation 1, but my favorite Pokemon period. The most polarizing starter Pokemon of all time, Charizard. This Pokemon holds true sentimental value to me because although Pokemon Sapphire was my first Pokemon game, FireRed and LeafGreen are what solidified my addiction to this ever so great franchise. And Charizard to me, even though it's not factually correct, is what I consider to be my first real starter Pokemon. I say this because most of my great memories of the Pokemon series come from my adventures with the Flame Pokemon. Whether it be finding my first shiny with him, grinding forever to finally get Flamethrower, or even beating Brock's gym with Charmander's Metal Claw, there's just so many to count. And sure, he's not the greatest or even good at competitive battling, but its megas, which were introduced in Generation 6, completely changed that narrative. Now you have the choice of 2 different powerful megas to toy with your opponent's lives. Now personally, I love the Y version more, but that's just because it sticks more towards Charizard's original design. And of course, we can't forget about Ash's Charizard. Ash had found it as a Charmander left for dead by its trainer Damien, and the gang subsequently took Charmander in, rehabilitating it and adding him to the team. For a while, Ash and this Pokemon were inseparable, at least until it evolved into Charmeleon. This is when it began its rebellious teenager phase and stopped obeying Ash. It's explained that essentially Ash over-leveled the Pokemon and that it wouldn't obey him until he matches it. And only a few episodes after, this Charmeleon evolved into Charizard. At first it seemed that Charizard actually cared for Ash as it tried to save him from Aerodactyl, but it turns out it was just angry with Aerodactyl, further widening the gap between them. For a while, Charizard never helped out Ash, even when he was desperately needed. The only time Charizard did anything useful was when its own pride was on the line. However, during an unruly fight with a Poliwrath, it almost had its flame put out, causing Ash to tirelessly work to rekindle the flame, which is very metaphoric as it also rekindled the friendship between them. From then on, Charizard has been pretty much a very reliable Pokemon for Ash. It had some very clutch moments like help weakening Drake's Dragonite and beating a freaking legendary Pokemon in Articuno. Not to mention it's shiny. Like I said, black on anything is amazing, and the red inner wings are just a nice touch. And finally, do I have to mention it? It's the mascot of my freaking channel. Of course it's going to be number one. Charizard is just the best. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and let me know in the comments section below. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and become an Eryizo today. If you want to check out the previous video I did, be sure to click the annotation on the left. If you want to see more Pokemon Let's Go videos, click the other annotation on the right. And with that being said, I will see you guys next time.